fucking
Modelkit builder.
God damn it, I'm just stuck selling
Slop content.
What's going on, guys? So, if you click this video, I'm assuming that you like my content. Right? Hello? Am I muted? Since you saw the title and thumbnail of this video, then you would know that I'm building something British.
I live in Smethwick, Birmingham. If you want the fucking brawl, come down Smethwick Hospitality. I'll come out of my house and I'll break your fucking legs, you little prick. No one will say! No one will fucking say!
But it'll be Australian.
If you're a fucking fair dinkum fucking full-grown Aussie, this is what you'd have for breakfast, you fucking dog cunts. A fucking VB long neck at 20 to 8 in the fucking morning.
That's right, we are doing the Airifx 1/72 scale Bae Systems Hawk. Alright, so before we get into the build, let's take a look at what's in the box. So getting started with the main stuff, this kit only has 3 sprues, which is not a lot. Now here's where the fun stuff comes in. Look at all of those decals. The instructions themselves also wasn't too complicated. Lots of detail and not too many steps, which is a nice touch. Now, taking a look at the paint guide, this is where I fell in love with the kit. I love these decals. These stencils, however, not so much. But with that out of the way, let's get into building this thing. Alright, let's start with the cockpit. Now, the cockpit itself was made up of about 5 pieces. Those all glued together really well. The only problem that I had with this was you had to put in the front landing gear into the section before you could put the 2 halves of the fuselage together. That made painting a little bit confusing, but nothing too hard. Once that was all glued together, I painted it in a light gray. Now, for the instrument panels, for these I hand painted them in a flat black, and there were these really detailed decals that the kit provided. I had a little bit of trouble trying to get them on at first, but once I figured it out, they went on without any more problems, and they actually look pretty good. And thankfully, there were also decals for the little dials and switches that were next to the pilots. After that, I was able to then glue together the instrument panels into the cockpit itself. Next up were the ejection seats, and this is by far not my best work at painting them. I first spent actually the first 30 minutes trying to figure out just what kind of seats they were. And as you can see, it doesn't look too great, doesn't look too bad. I will be putting the pilots into the seat, so they will be covering up most of the mistakes. It's actually kind of funny. So these seats gave me a lot of problems trying to glue them in. They constantly kept falling out, but once they were in, they were in. And gluing in the cockpit itself into the main fuselage went in without any problems. To give the cockpit just a little more detail, I took Tamiya panel liner and went around all the sides where there was detail and put some on there. Since this aircraft had a front landing gear, that means it needed a nose weight. Unfortunately, there wasn't too much room to put in a nose weight, so I had to get crafty. With the nose weight put in, the last part I had to add before I could glue the fuselage together was the engine. So, for gluing the fuselage together, it was actually a lot more easier than I thought it would be. There were 4 pinholes, about 2 on each side, and once it was all glued together, there was really not any seams to fill in. I was very surprised. So to hold everything together, I added just 1 clothespin on the front, and with that out of the way, I can now do the intakes. Now, the intakes are made up of 2 parts each, and there was a little bit of gappage once they were glued in, but it wasn't anything too crazy to like sand in or anything, so I kind of just left it like that. But other than that, it's coming along pretty good right now. Now, before I could glue on the wings, there was one more part for the cockpit. It was this little divider part that separates both seats, and this part actually towards the end gave me some problems for the canopy. You'll see later. Okay, now we can glue down the wing. So what I first did was I took the bottom half of the wing and I got it all into place. Surprisingly, actually, it fit really well. There was only 2 little seams to fill in with putty. Other than that, it went in pretty great. Next up was the top half of the wings, and honestly, looking back at it, I probably should have glued those to the bottom first before putting it into place. They gave me a little bit of problems trying to glue down, but once I got it all done, it fit pretty well, and there was about only 2 more seams to fill in with those. And so far, here's how it's looking. But before we can paint, we have to add on a few more parts. So these are the horizontal stabilizers, and they glued in without any problems. However, trying to get them all even and not crooked took a little bit of work. I had to just hold the plane at the back and just constantly just fiddle around with the stabilizers, making sure that everything lines up, looks good, and at the end, yeah, it does. Another part to add on was, well, I don't even know what to call this. It was just part of the fuselage, and I'm not entirely sure why this was a separate part. Once it was glued on, it left a little bit of a seam, which kind of annoyed me, but I wasn't gonna really fill it in and sand it down. It's just, I don't know fully why that's its own separate part. Now, with that out of the way, off camera, I was able to use Modelkit and fill in the seams, which now means it's everyone's favorite time. A little sanding montage.
I'm new, bro. I'm new to that. Bro.
Alright, and after all that filling and sanding, here's what we're working with. I think I didn't do too bad of a job with this. You can still see there's a little bit on the bottom, but I'm not gonna really worry about that because it's on the bottom. But with that out of the way, we can now then stuff the cockpit. So, for stuffing the cockpit, what I first do, like I do with all my other builds, is I'll take paper towel, and then I'll just try and squeeze as much as I can in there, just to give it enough protection. And then after that, I'll use Tamiya masking tape. For that, I'll just cut up a bunch of little pieces, and I'll put it all around the cockpit, just to make sure that the paint for the cockpit doesn't get covered up with whatever I'm going to be painting with instead. With masking done, here's how it's looking, and I'm liking it. And now we can start painting. Alright, and so before we paint, as always, off camera, I primed it in Tamiya flat white primer. With that done, I then let it dry, and then I did some panel lining. For this, I just took Tamiya flat black, thinned it down, and went over most of the panel line detail. However, as you can see from the big lines, I think the needle size was too big. Next time I'm going to use a smaller needle. Now that that's done, we can now start the camo, and I'm excited. Also, real quickly, here's the plane with all of its pre-shading done. You can see the lines are thick, but doesn't look too bad. For the first color of the camo, I chose Dark Ghost Gray by Model Master. Now, for the Dark Ghost Gray, I painted the entire plane in this color. It's only going to be on the bottom halves though, you're going to see it, but getting the paint on went on really well and simple. It flowed on very nice, and there wasn't really any problems. And here's how it is looking with all the Dark Ghost Gray on. So with the first shade of gray on, I was then able to take putty and mask off the wings for the second gray, which will be light ghost gray. And for masking this, I looked at the paint sheet on the instruction manual and just took putty and just tried to get it to the best that I could. I think it turned out not too bad. However, I did notice that later on, you'll see, I think the black was up a little too much. I think I should have moved the gray over a little bit, but it's nothing really too serious. And here is the second gray. This is Light Ghost Gray by Model Master. Now, for painting this, the paint job went on very smooth. However, looking back, I think I should have used a different kind of gray because the instructions do say light and dark ghost gray for the camo, but to me it looks too similar. I think if I did maybe a dark ghost gray and like a medium gray, that would have worked out. But anyways, for the dark ghost gray, also all the munitions were painted the same color. And here is what we are working with. So after I took off all the masking putty, you can see it's hard to see on camera, it's there, but the grays do look a little too similar in my opinion. Nothing too bad, but definitely next time for this I will use different shades of gray. For the final color, I did most of it off camera. Here's the masking for it, and it was just a flat black. Pinning it on, it just used to me a flat black, and it looks good, but like I said, I think the gray on the bottom should have been up a little bit more than where it ends now. Other than that, I think it actually looks pretty cool. And here's what it looks like with the cockpit all unmasked. As you can see, none of the black got into the cockpit, which I'm very happy about. Now, before we can give it a gloss coat, I had to paint a couple more things. Here's the landing gear, at least the front one, and this was painted in just a Tamiya light gray. For this, I just used a really small paintbrush, and it worked out. And here's everything all painted. I painted the front landing gear, and I got the tire done in rubber black, and we can now decal. And now it is time for the part I feared the most. Look at all of these decals. So actually, applying the decals was a lot more easier than I thought it would be. Simply what I did was put them in water and then took them out, and then I used a toothpick to get them into place, and thankfully, none of them ripped. I was very surprised. I was thinking I was going to rip at least one or two of them. However, this was the only one that I struggled with. It's these, I think it's a Puma, right? Maybe? Anyways, it was this Puma, and the one on this side would just refuse to stick to the plane. I had to do this maybe 5 times. Re-soak it in water, take it out, re-soak it again, until it finally adhered to the plane. And here's all the big decals put on, and this makes it look so much better. I absolutely love these decals so much. This is honestly the main reason why I bought this kit. After all the decals were done, I put on these, I don't even know what to call them, just these little pylons, I guess, underneath the wing. And these went on not too bad, but 2 of them refused to go on unless I put just immense force on them. With that done, I can now do some weathering, and the only weathering I did for this was a panel wash, and for that I just took Tamiya's panel liner. But also, this kit has some fantastic panel detail in it. and this Tamiya panel liner really brought out all that detail. And after panel lining, here's how it is looking, and just wow, I really like how this is turning out so far. I think the panel lining looks fantastic. Now, with all of that done, it was time for the landing gear, and usually the landing gear is what I have the most trouble with on for aircraft kits. However, this landing gear for this kit actually didn't give me any problems at all. Simply what I did was I took Tamiya glue, put it in the pegs, put in the landing gear, let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes for them to harden up, and then I put down the gear doors and everything else that goes inside of it, like the extra struts. And finally, here's the Hawk sitting on its landing gear, and I think this ties it all together. I'm really happy with how this is coming out right now. For some of the final parts to add on, here are the fuel tanks, and as you can see, there are these cool stencil decals that I put on. And this fuel tank actually went in without any Tamiya glue. Now, the other one, I put in some Tamiya glue in the little pegs, got it all closed in, and the fuel tanks, they look fine. I think I should have weathered them maybe a little bit for like fuel leaks or stains or something, but I think they look fine as they are. And up next was the missiles. Now, if you see, there's this blue line on this missile. This is a decal for the missile. What's confusing about this though is the kit gives you 4 missiles, but it gives you only 2 decals for the missiles, which was a little bit confusing. Other than that, getting the missiles on themselves took a little bit of work. They fell off a few times, mostly with the ones on the underside of the wings, but with a little bit of Tamiya glue, they held on in place. Now, for the underside missiles, there's these pylons, right? And unfortunately, I lost one of the pylons. So I found a sprue in the basement that was on the paint rack, and I don't know what it was from. It looks to be Soviet. So if you do notice the weird looking pylons, they are Soviet pylons, I'm pretty sure. But to the untrained eye, I don't think people will notice it too much. But for getting these missiles on, I took super glue and I held them in place for about a minute because these ones tended to fall off a little bit more often. Anyways, with all of that done, the last things to add were the pilots and then give it a flat coat. Putting in the pilots, I just put on a little bit of glue on the bottom, used tweezers, got them into place. And before we give it a flat coat, here's how it's looking, and just wow, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Before I give a final reveal, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and there will be one more video coming out before I go back. After that, I hope to be making more content once I go home for break. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and here is the Hawk.